I found a secret Capital One upgrade hack to go from a platinum card to a Quicksilver card, all the way up to a Venture X card without suffering 3 hard credit pulls. With this one product change, you can go from a training wheels card with a baby limit to a metal travel card that could scale up to $30,000. And the best part, your FICO score stays untouched through the entire process. But in just a minute, you'll see the sneaky deal breaker that can cost you up to $750 in lost value, how this little hack helped me score 2 credit limit increases in just 30 days. And I'll drop the exact hidden link you need, the one that Capital One definitely doesn't want you to find inside of my free credit card pre-approval master list. I keep it updated monthly, and it has over 80 other cards that you can get pre-approved for without a hard credit pull. I'll leave a link to that below so you can check it out. So how do you actually upgrade this thing? Well, Capital One never advertises this, and it almost seems like they don't want you to know or find it. So there's a little known landing page just tucked away on their site, and unless you know the exact link, you probably never stumble across it. But listen, once you go to the master list and you click on that link, it's pretty straightforward. You log into your account, select which card you want to upgrade, and then boom, Capital One shows you the lineup of cards that they're willing to let you switch to. Now here's where it gets personal. The list of cards isn't the same for everyone. It's really customized based on your profiles. So you're going to see different upgrade options than I will. Now, if the only option that they dangle in front of you is the Quicksilver 1, I kind of pause here. That card comes with a $39 annual fee, which wipes out a lot of the value for most people. On the other hand, if you see the Quicksilver Rewards card, that's actually a good option. So just click upgrade, then confirm, and you're done. So you don't have to wait, around for weeks to start seeing the benefits. The moment that you confirm the upgrade, your platinum card starts earning at the Quicksilver cash rewards rate right away. The physical Quicksilver card will show up in your mailbox later, but you'll already be racking up rewards before it even arrives. And by the way, I'm curious, if you had the chance to upgrade your Capital One card today, which option would you go for? Definitely drop your comments below because I'm going to see which upgrade options are showing up for people right now. Now, what really happens when you switch? Here's actually the part that most people are nervous about. If I upgrade my platinum card to a Quicksilver, what's actually going to change? Now, the answer might surprise you because the truth is the effects are actually pretty small. Your credit limit and interest rate stay put. Think of it like swapping the paint job on your car, but keeping the same engine under the hood. If your platinum card had a lower credit limit, that number isn't magically gonna jump up just because you upgrade it. You'll still need to actively request credit limit increases if you want more room to spend. The same goes for your interest rate. Whatever it was before, it'll follow you to that new Quicksilver card. And the familiar stays the same. So here's where it feels like, nothing even changed. Your account number, that's the same. Your due date, it's the same. All your customizations, like if you set up auto pay or adjusted your due date to line up with your payday, they all carry over seamlessly. Also, your account history doesn't reset. That means all of your on-time payments you've built up over the years and the age of your account stay exactly the same too. You don't lose years of positive history just because you switch the products. In fact, keeping that track record alive is one of the biggest side wins of doing a product change, since account age and payment history carry a lot of weight on your credit score. Now, there is some new stuff and it's small, but it is noticeable. And there is one thing that refreshes, and that's going to be your card security code and expiration date. So if you've got your old platinum card saved on, let's say a bunch of websites like Amazon, Netflix, DoorDash, you'll need to update those once the new Quicksilver arrives in the mail. Now, it's a little annoying, but probably worth the trade-off. And then there's guaranteed approval and no triple hard pull. I spoke about this earlier. This is really a benefit that doesn't get talked about enough. When you do a product change, you're guaranteed to be approved. There's no nail biting over pre-approvals or crossing your fingers that Capital One will say yes. You already have the account. You're just kind of moving it up the ladder. And that's a big deal, especially with cars like the Venture X. When it was first launched, approvals were tough to come by. And even today, it's not even easy. It's not an easy car to get approved for. With the product change, it's more like the old saying, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. You already have the relationship and you're simply upgrading it. Even better, you completely sidestep one of Capital One's biggest pain points, and that's the triple hard pull. Normally, Capital One is notorious for checking all 3 credit bureaus when you apply for a new credit card. That means 3 separate inquiries damaging your score. But with the product change, none of that happens. Your credit stays untouched and your history stays intact, and you walk away with a better card. Now, the catch is that there's no sign-up bonus. This is definitely the part that stings a little. By going the product change route, you really skip out on the new cardholder promotions. Right now, if you apply fresh for a Quicksilver with excellent credit, you'd be looking at, a $200 intro bonus and 15 months of 0% interest. But product changers don't get those. So Capital One treats you like you're every other existing customer, not a new one. And then there's the bucketing trap. This one is a bigger long-term catch that you won't realize right away. Capital One's bucketing system is basically when you first apply for your Platinum or Quicksilver card, Capital One puts your account in a risk group, based on your credit profile at that time. So if you've had a limited history or a lower score back then, you might have landed in a lower tier bucket. So when you product change, you don't get rebucketed. You're still in the same risk group you started with, which can act like an invisible ceiling on your credit limit. Some people never break out of it, no matter how good their credit gets later. So if your Quicksilver card has been stuck at that same limit for years, that same experience may follow you after the switch. Now, I got to tell you about my back-to-back limit increase story. So I've been with Capital One since 2019, and I product changed from a Quicksilver card to a Venture X card about 2 years ago. At the time, my Quicksilver card was sitting at around a $16,000 limit. And honestly, I had never been, much of a travel card guy. I always thought they were complicated and too many, hoops to jump through. But then I started paying attention to the Venture X card and realized the rewards were actually easy to use. It wasn't just a travel card. It could function as a simple 2% back flat rate card and stack a ton of extras on top of that. So I pulled the trigger and did a product change from my Quicksilver to the Venture X. Now here's where it got interesting. The month before switching, I had already gotten a credit limit increase bump from 15K to 16K. Then just a month after that, after switching to the Venture X, Capital raised me again, this time to $18,000. So that's back-to-back months and back-to-back increases. And then later on, I learned why. The Venture X lives in one of Capital One's higher tier buckets. That means higher starting limits, usually $10,000 plus dollars, and a max limit potential of $30,000 or even more. And by product changing into that card, I essentially placed myself into a better lane with more room to grow. So looking back, I realized this move, did more than just bump my limit. It signaled to Capital One that I was engaged, that I wanted to deepen my relationship with them. And, when you show that kind of involvement, Capital One seems to reward it on the back end. But now speaking of buckets, there's actually another card that Capital One seems to be putting in the higher level buckets these days. It's not just a Venture X card that's getting special treatment, it's also the Capital One Saver card. You can increase your Capital One Saver credit limit in the first 30 days of account opening. So check out the next video here to see 5 average people who push their limits by up to $14,000 within just a few months. Thank you for watching.